right, real quick, since we like talking about mayhem, and do-it-yourself mayhem, right? You were one of the guys I remember back in the day that talked about the usefulness, utility of using a jacket, sweatshirt, or anything as a defensive item, let's say. Right? I've noticed that for myself. I noticed that, whether it was sparring or noticed it in real life. When you take a jacket or a piece of clothing or even a hat or something and you whip it at somebody's face, no matter how bad they are, they always react the same. They flinch. They stop what they're doing. They're a step behind. And obviously we need to have, they haven't outlawed these things yet, otherwise we'd freeze to death. That's coming. But point I'm making is that, right now, for like a regular person, like how do I, what's the utility of like any kind of jacket in your hand, a sweatshirt or anything? You still stand by what you did back in the day, that it's a useful item?
Yes, absolutely. Well, we had, hey, if you got two guys that are evenly matched with a knife and you give one of them a jacket or even a hat in his other hand, and he's probably got the fight wrapped up. Okay. As far as coaching boxing goes, the biggest problem people have is having something in their eyes. It's not getting hit.
Right.
Most of the flinch is visually triggered. There was one test, I think it was Galen that wrote about it, I might be wrong, where the largest gladiatorial school in Italy that had 2,000 schools.
Oh, wow.
They did a test. They had every gladiator come out. And a lot of these guys are like barbarian warriors that got caught in battles.
Right.
These guys were killers. And they had them stand there, and an instructor would stab at their eyes with a sword and pull it up short with the understanding that they were not going to stab them. Yet only like one or two of these guys didn't bat their eyes.
Right.
And it's just natural. We're so visually sensitive. So on that alone, just the optics of the jacket, that's one part of it. There's another part of the optics of the jacket, but that alone is huge.
Yeah. I was just thinking, because I was reading Jeff Randolph's books. I just ordered some of them, right? So I'm looking through them. I'll do some reviews with them, and I'll have a discussion with you about them, because we want to promote this guy who's helping you out, and it's very interesting to see the updated England, because I have the books from like Thompson from back in like, the cool Britannia days of the 90s. Well, it's not very cool now if you look over there or here, but what I'm saying is a lot of the stuff it seems like a jacket would be a very useful item if you're over there, because it's definitely cold enough over there and wet and everything.
I discovered the utility of the jacket by accident because I walked 2 miles one way to work every night for 10 years when I worked at Bell Garden Bayreuth, and I lived, which was in Overley, and I lived down in Gardenville. I walked right up Route 1 while it was being colonized by my hereditary foes who drove my entire family out of the city and raped my cousin Megan in the gutter at Parkside and US Route 1. Now, I noticed that I was not getting beat up and robbed. I was getting threatened, and I had groups of guys try to lure me into the mouths of alleys and into doorways. But I didn't get attacked and beat up like other guys that I worked with, and the guys I worked with that had bad stuff happen to them, they didn't just look like me, they looked like the attackers too.
Right.
But I was the frozen food guy. Most of the bad activity happened in the summer. You could see the murder rate spike in a place like Baltimore in the summer, and I wore a flannel shirt or a jacket around my waist because I wanted my hands free to be able to deal with threats. I didn't realize just the fact that I had this jacket around my waist gave these guys the idea that I was maybe using it to hide a weapon under, until one of the older black dudes that I work with are like, yeah, they think you're strapped because you got that wrapped around your waist. So I was like, wow. Okay, thanks. So I started, some nights I'd put a Bowie knife on underneath of it. Like I was doing stupid stuff, like experiment with different things I could hide under a flannel shirt, wrapped around my waist.
No shit.
Yeah, so
And you needed that because you worked in the frozen food section.
Yeah, because I weighed like 143 pounds, and I'm working in frozen foods, so I would wear like 4 shirts, like a wife beater, a t-shirt, a sweatshirt, then a cutoff sweatshirt over top of it. Then I'd carry the final shirt, and I would use that to wrap around my waist to help my lower back warm up, because I had a bad back from the time I was 20. One time I go to work during the day to pick up my paycheck, and Dennis, who looked like Mike Tyson, she was a dyke. She was pretty cool. She used to be friends with me. She didn't like the other dudes on the crew that kind of looked like her, and she looked so much like Mike Tyson, cab drivers would not pick her up.
Oh, damn.
And she had more girlfriends than like every dude on a night crew combined. It was really funny, and they were good looking. It was hilarious. These guys sometimes would cry when a different girlfriend would pull up and drop Dennis off, right? I find myself standing in line next to Dennis, and she's looking at me. She's a lot stronger than me. She's like, bro, you got cancer or what? I thought you were buff, but it must be all them shirts, because it was summertime. I was just in a polo shirt. I wasn't coming to work. She was like, you dying on me? Well,
that's the street, that's the street way of, you layer up with cheap clothes, and it keeps you warm.
Yeah, so I didn't realize that actually with all those sweatshirts on in the summer, I kind of looked like I might have some muscle, which I didn't. And then I had something wrapped around my waist, which made it look like maybe I had something. Yeah.
Like I said, from my experience, when you whip that jacket at somebody's face, they will all flinch. They will all stop. They will not continue what they're doing. They will stop and have to deal with.
Early on, sparring with goggles on, we had to switch to masks and helmets, because sometimes when you had goggles on and you were sparring and you whipped a jacket at somebody, the sleeve might knock the goggles back, and then you might have a zipper or buttons on the main body of the jacket actually hit the eye. Charles and I both hurt each other's eyes doing that.
I remember as a kid in school that this kid was attacking the teacher with that. He was using it to whip the zipper end into his face to my teacher, but that teacher didn't work, because my man was a Vietnam vet, and he went at him karate style, and that dude ran for his life. I remember that. That was awesome. 1989. So, all right, man. So that's cool, man. Wear your jackets. Wear your hoodies. You know what I'm saying? Look like a longshoreman or something. So, and that's it, man. We're going into the future. So, it's time to dress down. Thank you.